photography, guess what? We're going to go over your very first assignment. In the previous videos, I showed you how to get your photos to your Google Drive, and from your Google Drive to Photoshop. Now, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be working with all the other stuff, working with Photoshop. The first assignment that we're going to be working with is right here, is high contrast selfies with painted backgrounds. You're going to be doing 5 of these, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And everybody is acquainted with taking a selfie. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking a selfie. And I want you to use 5 different, so 3 or 4 different selfies if you want to change your backgrounds a little bit, okay? So what we're going to be doing is taking selfies, and we'll go to Photoshop, which is on your computer there in the computer lab. What we're going to do is we're going to be creating a high contrast image of this, okay? So we're going to turn it from color to straight black and white, not with any grays, not with anything else, just straight black and white. So what we're going to do is what you need to know. Let me exit out of here. There we go. What we need to do is you need to know that once you have your photo downloaded from your drive into Photoshop, Photoshop works in layers. There's a little box over here that says layers. And when you put your picture in there, it's going to say background. It's going to have like a little lock on it. Go ahead and unlock that because you want this to be free and clear. And you can create different layers. I'll show you how to add layers on there because you're going to need that. I'm going to add a layer right now. So there's layers. And I can move these layers around and switch them around just by dragging and dropping them. There's little eyeballs there. If I click on the eyeballs, that layer becomes invisible. Okay? So that's going to be good to know here in just a moment. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be turning this picture into a black and white image. What we're going to do is I'm going to go here and go to black and white. Oh, I'm on the wrong layer. Make sure you clicked on the right layer. I do this all the time. Go to images, go to black and white. It's going to turn that into a black and white image. Oh, I forgot to hit black and white. Okay. So now that image is a black and white. It's got gray in it and everything. Now what I also want to do is I want to do adjustments, and I'm going to go to levels here. Okay. What this levels does is it allows me to control how much black, how much white I add into there, and a gray tone. I want to get this to where it's a straight black and white, but I want to keep detail as well. I'm going to keep adding this stuff, getting closer together until everything finally meets. And sometimes it gets too, see, there's really a good contrast. This is where we want to be, but I don't like it because it's a little dark. And hit cancel again. What I'm going to do is I can also play around with my exposure a little bit. That means I could lighten things up a little bit. I can darken things up. Let's see what happens if I darken things up a little bit and then go back to my adjustments and levels. Changes how the black works. See how much more darker it is? Much more darker. Is that a word? I don't know. Oh, it's getting pretty light there, isn't it, folks? But I'm getting a little bit more detail in there too. See, I can move it there, and I don't like it there. I'm going to keep it to right there. Everything's together. The grays, the whites, and blacks. There's straight blacks and whites. There's no grays at all. I'm going to hit OK. What I'm going to do now is I am going to take out all of this white area. I'm going to cut it all out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to select, go to color range, go to highlights, bring that all the way, bring it all the way, fuzziness down, range all the way up, hit OK, and then on my keyboard, hit delete. And what I have now is you see all these little marching ants, go back to select, hit deselect, and that's there. Now, what I've done basically is taken all the white out. And you don't really recognize that because there's nothing in the back. So let's say that I want to pick a color. I'm going to go to my other layer. My picture is on layer 0, and I can name that. I can rename that. I'm going to name it selfie. I'm going to name layer 1 background. Okay. I'm going to go to my background here. Okay. I'm going to make my selfie invisible. I'm going to pick a color. I've picked colors here. When you're working with Photoshop, there are a lot of tools on here. This project is for you to explore and experiment. I want you to see what everything is. Up here, that's a moving cursor, so that like I'll put the selfie on here. If I go to the moving cursor, I can move the photo around, okay? And that can help you with that. Go back to background, close that out. Other things you can do. If you right click on any of the ones that have like a little arrow, you can do different things. Like I've clicked here, got a paint bucket tool I can drop. So that made that background red. Now, that's sort of what that looks like with that selfie on over top. Okay? So you can change that up. Now, another thing you can do, and I'll show you here in just a moment, that's really kind of interesting with the selfie, but we're going to hold off. With your background, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be creating a painted background. Now, you can paint it same place where the paint bucket tool is. If I right click, go to gradient tool, I can select a different gradient. If I drag and pull, it's going to create a gradient. Now I can control the colors here. I've got red here, I've got white here. Let's say if I want to go to a purple color. So it's okay. Now I've got a second color. My gradient goes from red to purple. And anywhere that I pull that, it's going to change. If I want to go from corner to corner, if I want to go from top to bottom, how you do your gradient is how you pull and drag. Okay? Now, that's sort of what that looks like on there. So you've got a high contrast image over top of your background. That's a very simplistic thing. I still want you guys to play around with this stuff. You could go to your brush tools. You can pick different, let's say we pick a different brush tool. You can and if you don't like something, always go back and you can undo brush tool. You can always go Control Z. Control Z is go back and delete stuff. You can change your brush size up here where it has different sizes. I can lower the brush size so I can get smaller lines. I can paint over top of this. can change the color of my paint tool. You know, okay, maybe I want white. Oh, why is that not being white? Go to normal. I can create different designs on here. And with your brushes, there are different modes, dissolve, color, whatever. Normal will let you just go through and do everything. But play around with different modes, see what they do, explore. That's how you're going to get to know this. With your brushes, where's brushes again? I can right click. There are different brushes. There's pencil tool, and that's going to be a really thin, that's on one, so it's going to be hard to see. That's 5. You can create different types of line. Now you're thinking that looks weird. Why would I even want to do that? When you put that over top, it's still kind of cool. You know, you're getting some different things. Play around with things. Now, here's another thing that you can do. If you wanted to, say you just like that, say you want to add another layer, okay? When you have layers, as they go up, the ones on the one on the bottom is actually the bottom. The one at the top is actually the one that's going to be the one on top. Say this layer, we do another gradient, okay? Let's go to gradient, pick up here. This one is going to be from a color to a transparent. So I'm going to pick a color. That'll be neat. Let's try blue, okay? Okay. Now I'm going to go here. Oh, it's still white. Why is that white? I'm going to Control Z, delete that, go get a color again. Oh, I had a really light color. Okay, there's blue. Now I can create a gradient, and that gradient goes over top of that that artwork that little scribble we were doing in the background. Okay, you can see what that's on there. Now another thing you can do to control your layers is you can change the opacity. I've clicked on layer 1, that's that blue gradient with the transparency here. Now I can change the opacity of this. I can make it see through a little bit more, do a little bit more. You know, play around with what you want to do with this. Now, if I wanted to, or create another layer, I'm going to go. Where's shapes? Here we go. I'm going to create some shapes in here. I'm going to go. There's rectangles, round rectangles, ellipses, which are basically circles or oval polygons, lines, custom shape tool. I'm going to go to ellipse because it's kind of fun. I'm going to create on this little thing here. Right click on it and rasterize layer. Sometimes when they have those little boxes on there, it's called rasterization, and it doesn't help anybody. Okay, I need to do a layer, and I'm going to create. I'm going to find colors that I want. I'm going to go back to the red. I can go in, create small little circles. Every time I make a circle, it's going to create a different layer. So I can create different circles in here, just adding like a pattern to add into the image that we have. Now what's interesting about this is with each one of these, I'm going to need to go here and rasterize each layer. bunch of those in there. And that's fine. Just need to, it takes a little bit of time. And you're learning how to do this, and you're exploring, and you are having fun creating, okay? Now, oh, look, there's more ellipses that I need to rasterize. Right click up, okay? Now, like, let's go to this ellipse too. I can change the opacity on that and make things see-through. I can really change how much of this that I see. And it creates a very interesting background. It's almost like an abstract digital painting. And that's sort of how we're going to look at this, okay? We're going to do a background. Oops, sorry. I meant to go to here. It sort of lightens things up, which is kind of interesting. And you can change to different percentages of of what you want to see through, but it creates a different look with this. Oh, that one's already been done. Okay. Where's the other small ones? Oh, there's that small one. So change those up. There's the one in the center. I'm going to play with that again. Now, you're going to explore and play around and see what you can do with these, and I'll help you, walk you through them. You can add things to it, you know, sort of help you out. But you're going to be creating sort of this background, okay? And with this background, well, now all those ellipses, I moved. I'm going to have to keep moving this all the way up because the ellipses have gone over top of all of my selfie. So I'm going to have to drag those all the way up so that all the ellipses are underneath. So I've got all those ellipses underneath there. Now, one of the things that I can do too is while I'm on here, I can transform this selfie. I can make it larger. I can make it to fit my frame a little bit better, and hit enter, and that's like that. Now, what I can also do is if I want to duplicate layer, I'm going to duplicate the selfie layer, okay? So I've got two of them. If you look over here, one selfie copy. Now, if I go over here to my move tool, and I'm on that selfie copy layer, oh, I'm going to move it. I want to be on the right layer. I can change the opacity, that second layer, and like have it become different. I can also change that in images. I can adjust it. I can invert it to make it white. So that's there. I can move the black over top. So I've got like a white version of that over top. Now, if I want the white selfie copy over top, I can do that. I can also move it over a little bit more. I can change the size of it by going to transform again. Oh, look at my big fat head. I can make it bigger. Hit enter. that selfie copies in the back. I could do that over and over again and create different things. Um, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be creating 5 of these, okay? You're going to be experimenting with all your tools. You need to pay attention to your layers. You can play with duplicate. You can play with adjustments. You can play with filters. Filters over here, for example, you can pixelate. It's going to let you pixelate, halftone. It's already kind of weird, so it's not doing anything really. But you can play around and see what it does. Maybe you want to play around with a little bit. But this will give you a chance to play around with some of the tools over here and ask questions to get to know the program a little bit more. That's what this project's about. It's all about you getting to understand how the program works. So that's just a little basics. If you have questions, let me know. I am here to help you. Okay? Thanks. I will talk to you later.